morning, Central Texas. Welcome to Kids Community Connections at My Kids 1031. I'm Phyllis Jones, your host for this morning, and we're going to have some fun this morning because, when we talk about our youth, and we talk about our youth getting in trouble, we talk about our youth doing crazy things, but then when our youth do something good, we should also talk about it. And lately we fail to do that. We talk about all the things they did, where they need to go, what they didn't do, but we never highlight them when we need to. And that is part of the job that we need to always do. When our youth do something good, you walk up to them and you congratulate them, but then you find other ways, but you highlight them to let them know you saw them, but you let other people know that, with all the things that we say about our kids these days, we have somebody that's doing something good. So this morning, I'm going to be talking with Jamal. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good. And you?
I'm doing great. For Alpha Phi Alpha, they have a oratorical every year, and it's about Martin Luther King. And I didn't make the event because I was pre-recording my show, so I didn't make the event. But MLK Day, Harker Heights Community Church had an MLK program, and I'm glad I was there because I got to meet Jamal and two other young men who did the speech so powerful until they made us go out and do something. It's not that they made us go out to do it, but they're our youth. And, when our youth feel powerful about something, it's the adults need to act upon it, to let the youth know that we heard what you said, we felt what you said. Now we have to do what you expect us to do, because adults, we need to know, when your youth say, the powerful things about Martin Luther King and what they firmly believe, if we don't follow through, then who are we? We're no one. We're not doing what we said we would do, because we're there supporting Martin Luther King that day, and we're there supporting the program and supporting our youth. So, we felt like, okay, fine. We couldn't just go home after the program and say, okay, heard three young men speak. No, we had to do something that the city said we could not do. Because I don't know if you know, but for MLK Day, the NAACP used to hold the Clean branch. They held an MLK march from City Hall all the way around the parade route, ending at City Hall. Well, last year in June, the city council voted that the MLK march was not going to be a free march. It was going to cost $1,200 because of the city. Jamal is looking at me like, what? Because of the city's budget, and they're cutting the funds. It was only certain parades they were going to fund, and MLK was left off. Yes, the MLK parade was left off of, so it was going to cost the branch $1,200. Well, they found out too late it was going to cost $1,200 because we would have paid it. But instead, the branch decided to move the march to Lions Club Park. Okay, I didn't go for that march because that wasn't me. I would have been the one still marching downtown getting arrested with 300 other people, because to prove a point of Martin Luther King would have held the march. Don't you think, Jamal, Martin Luther King would have held the march anyway?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, see, so I didn't go to that march. I went to the breakfast. But after the breakfast, we decided we're going down to City Hall and we're going to take a picture on the steps of City Hall. And we did. We felt good about it. But I don't know if Jamal knows, but do you know I put it in the paper?
You did?
Yeah, so our picture was in the paper that we took a stand. And we took the stand because youth like you spoke and forced us to remember that we needed to start taking a stand instead of laying down.
Yes, ma'am.
So for you and the other two, this is why we went to City Hall the way we did, and we contacted some people on the way and said, get there,
That's right.
But we did it because we knew that what you said, we know what you said, and we heard what you said, and we felt what you said. So us sitting down doing nothing would have showed you that we're not doing anything. So we need to show you and ourselves that we were. But now we're going to talk a little bit about your speech. But I want to know, why did you enter to the oratorical?
Well, I did it last year, and I learned a lot about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that I didn't know before that. Right. So I was like, well, this could also be very educational for me and other people. And then I could also learn even more things about Martin Luther King Jr. and all his other not as known speeches that he gave, like I Have a Dream and Been the Mountaintop. Everyone knows those, but
right.
not everyone knows all the others and all his sermons before the Civil Rights Act even started. So I just learned much about him, and I just wanted to show people that I could research a topic and be able to speak about it, and then teach them in case they didn't know.
Okay, so as you were saying, I'm going to ask you a question, and I don't know if you know the answer, but I want to know what you think. Why do you think people only focus on I Have a Dream speech? Just that one. You know, every program you hear, that's the only thing you hear. So why do you think that that's the only one we talk about?
Maybe because Martin Luther King did have a dream, and his dream is still relevant today, and we can still achieve that dream. I don't think we're there yet, but in some time we will be able to achieve his dream. And I guess that's all people teach in school too. It's all people know. Okay, so you want to know my opinion of it?
Yes, why? I think it's the only speech that crosses over. That I Have a Dream speech crosses over. It's not directed to any one set of people. It's addressed to all. But yet his speech that said, I feel that I'm sending my people into a burning building, was addressed to us. And did you know about that speech? It's a speech when he was talking about that his dream wasn't coming. You know, his dream was for all of us to get together. But he was realizing at that time that all of us getting together just like this, just thrown together, was not working. It was more friction. So that's when he said he felt he was sending his people into a burning building. Mm-hmm. That speech you'll never ever hear it from anybody say, because no one wants to admit that. Because I would say today, some of our young black men that are being shot by police, we're sending them into a burning building. So that speech you will never hear. But you're right. A lot of the speeches that you read about and you learned about are not heard today. So what else did you learn about Dr. Martin Luther King?
Well, what did I learn?
Yeah, that you didn't learn in school.
Oh, well, we didn't know that he took a knee when they got arrested on Pettis Bridge. They don't teach that in school. I can't even remember the last time they talked about Martin Luther King Jr. in school, because I know they didn't this year or the year before that. So, yeah, I learned that. And then many people died, of course. I didn't know what Bloody Sunday was.
Right.
That was just a terrible day. They don't teach that. Why? I don't know. Okay,
and what was your speech about? What was the topic, first of all?
The topic was, so quarterback Colin Kaepernick used to play for the San Francisco 49ers. He wanted to take a stand by kneeling and sitting during the national anthem before many games, to show support for people of color who he believed were being oppressed by police officers, and that nothing was happening.
So where did you, according to your speech, I know you can't say it verbatim because it's like written, it's been a while since you did it. I understand that, but some of your speech, what was it about?
Well, I started off with talking about some of the black males that have lost their lives to police brutality and social injustice. And then I talked about Martin Luther King, how he was an influential civil rights leader, of course. And then I went into how Colin Kaepernick took a knee and why he took a knee. And then I just kept on, and Martin Luther King, he would remind us of what the United States Constitution says, and that all men are created equal, and that we need to be treated equal and not treated like we're not also humans. Then I went on to say that the United States Code, Title 36, Chapter 10, it references patriotic customs, but kneeling while the national anthem is being played is not listed as one. So
do you think that when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, if Martin Luther King was alive, he would have came with him?
Yes, ma'am. Because, Martin Luther King Jr. did it.
So actuality, he repeated history.
Yes, ma'am.
Instead of being blamed for causing a movement.
Yes, ma'am.
He recreated something that one of our great leaders did.
Yes, and then after Colin Kaepernick did it, many other NFL players did it. And then like back in the 1960s when Martin Luther King Jr. started a movement, other people followed him and went along with him.
Did you, in your studies, does it ever tell you that Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were actually friends?
I mean, I think they had some rough times sometimes, but I mean, they had different opinions and different ways to handle things. But if you watch the movie Selma, I mean, they will show up, and Malcolm X says that he thinks that they should use violence, but they still are fighting for the same thing at the end. So yes, I did know that they were friends, but
it's not publicized.
Yeah, they don't teach it in school.
So in school, do you think it should be taught Black history?
Yes, ma'am, because some of Black history is American history.
Right. That's true. Aside from doing the radio show, I'm the state education chair for Texas State NAACP. And we have, in fact, the two men who were there, Reverend Brown and Professor Hill or Dr. Hill. They're both on a committee with me to rewrite the social studies book that you all read from Pearson's. Mm-hmm. But we're starting with the 5th grade because the 5th grade is the first part of their book. This is the first part of the Pearson's book that distorts our history. Because in 5th grade, kids will learn in Pearson's that slaves were happy living in the colony until one was sold. Right, yes, in there. It's in there. So we're starting with the 5th grade, and they're going to work up to combat Pearson's, to change that book, because that's what you're learning from. So in order to change the way you're learning it, we need to change the way it's brought to you, such as in that book. So that's something that we're working on. And I think we need to include some young people in that to voice your opinions, because there are things that I might say you need to learn in school, and then you might say, well, we need to also learn this too.
Yes, ma'am.
So what we get. So what has the speech done for you? The speech and your learning and all that, how has it impacted you as far as the change?
Well, it taught me that it's never too late to give up. And no matter what, you always got to keep on pushing. If no one is with you, then you got to keep on pushing, because Dr. Martin Luther King, he had many threats come to him. He was assassinated, but even before that, he was still pushing on, trying to achieve equality in the world. How has it impacted my life? Well, now I use some of what Martin Luther King Jr. said, and I tell it to other people. So, they won't give up or anything, and whenever they're going through things, just remind of what something is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said.
So as far as the oratorical, we're going to go back to it. Would you recommend more youth be a part of it?
Yes, ma'am, because you could learn a lot of things, and you can also increase your speaking skills, I guess I can say. And it's just a really good experience, all in all.
Good. So what would you say to the young men who said, I don't want to be a part of it? What would you say to them if they said, I don't want to do all this work, I don't want to be a part, I just don't want to do it because it's just too much work? What would you say?
Well, I was them last year. So I would just tell them, it's not hard. You just look up some facts and then put your mind to it. Be creative with it. Think of what you think the people need to hear that they don't hear on a daily basis or maybe ever in their life, because some of it has been forgotten and no one references it anymore. So it won't only have an impact on other people, but it will also have an impact on their life too. That's only if you want change in your life.
Good. Okay. All right. Now, I'm not picking at you, but you're here, so we're gonna dialogue. You're like, oh my God, what she's gonna ask me next? Okay. Our community, our Black community in Killeen, in Harker Heights, Copper's Cove, and all that. Do you think we adults, do you think we've taken a step back, or are we just settling for whatever? What do you see in the community?
I think I see settlement.
Okay. Why? And why do you think that it's there?
Well, because all the violence going on, and if both parents, not just one parent, but both parental units were there in a child's life and teaching them how they should go about life, then they wouldn't resort to violence and everything, depression and anxiety, because they'll have someone to talk to if no one else is there, or they'll have someone to ask for advice. But in Killeen...
What about the community, though? Because the community has a responsibility, too. So what do you think about the community? As the community there, are most of the community you see settled, or are they there fighting or standing up? What do you see? Come on. If you got to step on some toes, it's fine. I'm all for stepping on toes. Did I say that? I did, didn't I? Okay.
The community, I think the community really has to... Everyone has to... As being a part of a community, everyone has to take a part in it, right? So I think as a community, we just have to lift each other up and not bring each other down. And, I think we really haven't been doing that. I mean, all I can say is we gotta do better, I guess.
Well, no, you say so, because you can't be wrong in what you're saying. You can't. You won't be wrong in what you're saying. And sometimes we have a fear of stepping on each other's foot. But every now and then I need to step on your foot, because I need you to understand that you need to wake up. Mm-hmm. So what I'm asking you, you can't say, I don't want to say this because they're going to really... No, if the adults need to take a stand and quit sitting down, you need to take a stand and quit sitting down. Because there are times when, you walk and you hope that there's others walking behind you. You turn around, you're going, really walking by myself? Mm-hmm. Okay, what do I do? Do I continue or do I go back? So if you see the community as being non-supportive, it's non-supportive.
Yeah, that's right.
And if it needs to do better, it needs to do better. I'll say, yeah, they're non-supportive and needs to, yes. Yeah, I'll say that, yes. But we need to do a better job, and we need to show you, not just you, the youth that we're here, that we're there, that we're a part of what's going on, that we're a part of the change, that, we are fighting and we are doing. But some have become complacent, and they think they've arrived at a place they have not, without realizing that you're still 2 steps to live, in a HEB shopping cart. Well, it's true, but we do need to do better as a community. Okay, now my other question. So we're going to leave the oratorical over there just for a few minutes, and we're going to step into a whole new ground. This week in KISD, and it's not just KISD, so I want to say that as the state education chair for the NAACP, we have districts that are doing way, way more than what we're doing. Mm-hmm. But since we live here, we only know about what we're doing. So we're going to say KISD. Now, I know you might not know, so I'm going to inform you that I need your opinion. At Palo Alto, there was a young man there, and he was being bullied. First time somebody knocked his glasses. They broke his glasses, knocked him down, broke both of his teeth twice. Ooh. And also, someone videoed him in the bathroom and put it on social media. Yeah, really. Yes, that's what happened. Yes, that's bad. Really bad. That's bad. Because one, these young men don't know that they committed a crime. that they will go to juvie if caught. Well, one has been arrested because the mother did a newscast across the street from the school because the school wasn't doing anything. So the mother did a newscast across the street to, inform Palo Alto and KIZ of what's going on with her son. So right after that, one of the kids got arrested. So what do you think was missing to cause all these things to happen? Not from the little boy, but all this bullying that's going on. And I know you see it in school too. So where do you think it's coming from? Is it because the community hasn't collectively stepped up and formed some kind of mentorship or whatever ship with our young men, or what do you think about that?
Well, it all starts in the home, the house. If the guardians of the child aren't doing right, then they have no one to tell them that this is right and this is wrong. And if we don't have, let's say they don't have, I'm not going to say good parents, but if they don't have people that are showing them what to do, then we can have those mentorships in the community to guide them and where they're supposed to go. But if we don't have those, then this is what happens: the bullying, all the shooting, the fighting. So I think the community and the parents and other youth take part in it, because as another youth, you have to step up and tell them that isn't right either. If you know that is not right.
And also, what our kids don't realize is that from the age of 8 to 16, they can go to juvie. Most of our kids don't realize that. And a lot of our kids don't realize that bullying is not just a not nice thing to do, but it's also against the law. And laws are being put in place, tougher laws for bullying than people think. So when kids do these things, they aren't realizing that you can go to juvie from 8 to 16, but from 17 and up, you're
go to prison.
Yeah, you're going to meet some bigger boys that bully better than you do. Well, they do. They're better at it than you are.
Yes, ma'am.
So we need to do that. Okay, now my second thing, I'm gonna talk about what happened, and I'm going to do that for one big, huge question. At Ellison High School, there was a young man making what is, kids don't know what it is, but a terroristic threat. And you can't make a terroristic threat. He made a terroristic threat, and he got caught. He got caught, so we know where he's going.
Yes, ma'am.
He's old enough to go away. So in both those instances, I see a need for. But what would you think about? Okay, a mentoring program, yes, but why can't our high school young men start a mentoring program? Invite some responsible adults to be a part of it. Can that happen?
I believe that can happen. We got to be committed to it.
Right.
And we got to have faith and believe that it will work, because it could work if we have the right people guiding it and head of it. And I think that could work, because, I mean, most teenagers, if you're not at home or at the mall, you're at school. So, or maybe at work. But, I mean, as a teenager, you really can't go to a lot of places.